Hello and welcome back to the Rangers Review as we discuss the Europa League victory over Malmo. Josh, we spoke earlier on, we gave our predictions, we both sat on the fence and went for 1-1. There was actually a fair bit of positivity, I think, in the comments amongst the viewers earlier on, but that certainly went to plan. The Rangers really impressive winners in the end, really comfortable winners in the end. It should have been more comfortable by Rami getting that goal inside 56 seconds, I think it was. It takes until Rose McCausland gets the second one, but quarter an hour or so from time to put the seal on it. But overall, I think if you're saying that that Rangers should have won by more, I think you're being accurate, but perhaps slightly nitpicking because it was a really encouraging night for Philippe Clement.
It was, yeah. I mean, I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming. I thought that it would be a more difficult game than it was. There's probably an element of Malmo not playing very well in that as well, but you can't, to use a football cliche, you cannot take anything away from Rangers because they were really deserving of that win. The early goal really helps because it created a lot of space to play into. But even then, it felt like a game to me, Chris, where Rangers missed a lot of chances. But Rangers missed a lot of chances in the game where they actually didn't have much pace up the top end of the pitch. If you'd had a Cortez or a Matondo or a Egaman or a player of that description, maybe someone to run in behind a little bit more, then I think it could have been more convincing. Really good strike by McCausland as we'll come on to seal the points. But yeah, I think we spoke before the game about Rangers. Our result will be great. They need to keep trying to build a mood that's fluctuated a lot over summer, and it's only going to change with a few results in a row. And that was both because it was a result and a performance. Yes, it's only one game, but to come away from home in Europe and win 2-0, to not really concede maybe one or two chances of real quality in what was a pretty hostile and difficult atmosphere to play within, when you're missing 4 or 5 first team players through injury, and when you've won 2 games in a row, you've got 3 games at Ibrox to come up against the next international break. I think Philippe Clement will be justified to be a wee bit more positive tonight and what he saw from his team and where Rangers are compared to a couple of weeks ago.
We'll come on to talk about things in the final third because there were some really encouraging moments, 2 good goals, some alarming misses. But
Yeah.
a point that Stephen raises there on John Souttar, day in the life, gives Big John Souttar his man of the match, as he says there. Another clean sheet for Rangers. I think we both expressed concerns over the side defensively at times this season. But regardless of where you go in Europe and regardless of the level of opposition, you have a clean sheet and not really give up that many openings. I was
Yeah.
surprised at how little Malmo were actually able to get at Rangers. And I think Suter has been quietly impressive over the last couple of weeks. Again, we spoke the other day about that partnership with Proper. It looks as if it's starting to get somewhere.
Yeah, I thought the back four all did well. I thought Tavernier was good. A couple of important defensive interceptions. Both the fullbacks played pretty narrow at points. Really like the look of Casim Weirjol, and that's him playing kind of out of position. And Robin Proper was good as well. It's the third clean sheet in a row. You're right. There's always been this narrative in the background with John Souttar. Would he be better if he was playing on his favoured side? This is aside from the end of his first season when the games didn't really matter because the league was done. This is the first time we've seen him play on the right side of the defence for a concerted amount of time. And he has had a mistake in his game for quite a lot of his Rangers career, whether it be misjudging a header or whether it be, you think back to the first game of last season where he misjudges that long Kilmarnock throw and they scored the goal that wins the game based off of that mistake. Has it just taken him a bit of time in that favourite position, maybe to get that consistency that footballers seem to say is so important for them to perform as they could. So yeah, a good game defensively. As I say, I thought Casim Weirjol was really good, especially given the fact that he's out of position overall. And we spoke a lot, Chris, in the lead up about Malmo's style. How would Rangers react to it? I think there was a period at the start of the second half, and Clement actually went to a 4-5-1 at about 60 minutes just before Ross McCausland came on. There was a period where Malmo started to have a bit more success in the midfield. But that aside, I thought this game was a perfect example of why the way that Clement wants to press and play off the ball, it's got to be aggressive and it's got to be on the front foot. They got the rewards for that for being aggressive right from the start. Similarly, they took the lead away at Benfica in Europe, didn't they? They took the lead away at Real Betis as well. And very early on in the game, they gave themselves a platform that ultimately would change the game and change the fortunes of the game really in their favour. Bajrami, good as well, and as you see, a lot of maybe more signs of attacking connections coming with the caveat that a lot of players in the final third were missing. So I think a positive night all around for Rangers, and it also starts the Europa League group stage off pretty well, because we know they've got a difficult draw, don't they? But I agree with you. I thought the defence was good, and 3 clean sheets in a row is the top line stat. But I think what comes underneath that is that Jack Butland didn't really have to make a big save tonight. And when you're coming away to play the Swedish champions, I think that's a pretty impressive fact coming out of it for Rangers.
At the other end of the pitch, we had a prediction earlier on. I think it was Alan, as pleasing as there. He pointed out 7-2. He could almost have been right. Now Rangers end the night with 2 goals, but you look at the Cherny chance in the first half. I think that for me that's the most glaring one. The Dessers and Bayrami breaking through. Dessers has the one in the second half. Lawrence could arguably have done better and certainly hit the target with the one that he had. Casemiro had one later on, so there was definitely chances there for Rangers. I think the fear, as Stevie Clifford texted me about this at half time to say these better not come back and haunt Rangers.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it didn't. Clement will be relieved that it didn't. But is that the one thing? Is that the one negative, if you like, the fact that Rangers did have to create? They made themselves sweat. On the plus side, you're going away from home and you're creating a barrel load of chances, but they really need to get better at converting more of them to give themselves a bit more breathing space in these games.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the XG is tomorrow. The FOTMob and the StatsBomb is a lot more accurate than the kind of other immediate models. But FOTMob has it as 2.5. So I mean, Rangers missed a lot of opportunities tonight. Yes, they could have won by more. Equally, every team misses opportunities when they're in line with hopefully scoring a few chances as well. I think they should have had more, and I think if either team looked more likely to score, it was Rangers. The early goal really helped them, because even though they didn't have a lot of pace to transition and play in behind, Václav Černý, I think there was quite a few times where he was through in the first half and he wasn't found. He should score, he should hit the target. I thought that was a player maybe lacking a little bit of confidence in front of goal. There was a moment at the end of the first half, Bajrami and Dessers, where neither of them took a shot and they had a 2v1. Obviously, Dessers goes through 1-on-1 in the second half. Lawrence has that opportunity. So there were a lot of moments, Chris, but I think what will encourage Clement is that he was playing with, no left-sided balance tonight, and he was playing with no real attackers who have real breakaway pace. So I actually didn't think it was a game where there wasn't I think Suter man of the match is maybe a fair shout. I thought the whole defence was good. There wasn't a load of kind of standout, brilliant performances. It was just collectively, I think, quite a good team showing overall. Barron and Diomande in the middle, I thought, did well. The substitutes, obviously, Ross McCausland makes the impact. We spoke about this, the substitute bench not having that much in terms of impact, and Ross McCausland has proved that comment totally wrong, because he came on and really sealed the game when it was still nervy, because Malmo around the 50 to 60 minutes before Clement made that change in shape were starting to build a little bit more momentum. But then when McCausland gets that goal, as you mentioned, Rangers could have went and got another one as well. So the early goal probably really helped the game state for Rangers. But you're right, they've conceded literally nothing and they've created quite a lot at the other end, and that's what will encourage Clement on the back of those 2 results: the wins away at Dundee United and the win at home as well. Just on that Černý miss, I don't know what you think, but I think it looks like a player who, he had good moments tonight and he worked hard defensively. Probably needs a little bit of a confidence boost in front of goal, because if you look back to the goals he scored at FC20, he's not normally a player who thinks too much before he shoots, and he's a player who has scored quite a lot of goals and quite a lot of impressive goals throughout his career.
I think that's a fair point. I think he's it's clear that he's got talent. It's clear that he can bring something to that side. It's clear, I think, that he is an upgrade on what Rangers have had in that position previously. But I don't think that gets him a free pass. I think he's clearly capable of more. Those 2 wide areas, perhaps not quite as the manager would want them. Černý in terms of form, Bayrami obviously having to play slightly out of position. That's his first Rangers goal. I think I'm right in saying that's his first goal since he became a European Championship record breaker in the summer as well. We spoke a bit pre-match about that left-hand side. Or Cassius Wiersel getting the nod ahead of Sterling to play a left fullback. What did you make of both of those performances and how that left-hand channel worked? I thought both of them were good, and certainly in terms of Barrie getting that goal, getting that.
God, people are so interested in the Rangers review. They want to come on the post-match briefing there, Chris. They've thrown me off my point. I thought that Casemiro was good. I thought he was really good. Again, kind of playing somewhat out of position. He has played fullback before, but he's right-footed. He looked comfortable, didn't he? And if you read the piece that I did with his ex-coaches, and you look at his you look at his career in football so far. He came through at Ajax, and when I spoke to previous coaches, that's kind of what stood out. He's someone who's really comfortable on the ball because he spent his entire youth career. I think the quote one coach gave me was winning 9 games out of 10. So it kind of dominating from the back is not something that's new for him. But he didn't look out of place, did he? Even when he was trapped on his left foot at points. And that's a Rangers team that only had one left footer, no, 2 left footers, Diomande and Cherney, but they were both playing on the right hand side of the pitch. So I think a good night for Casemiro. Looked like more of a natural inverted fullback, didn't he? Pretty comfortable coming inside to the pitch, even though again he's playing on his opposite side. And then Barrie, still not seen him in his best position. And we spoke a little bit in the week about how he was playing as a left winger. He started as a left winger at the weekend, but he was really moving into that number 10 spot quite a lot. That wasn't quite the same tonight, and I think you can see that when he is isolated out wide, he's not someone who's going to run past a man that often. But you can also see that he's a really intelligent player. He uses the ball well. He probably knows his limitations, and his final ball is really, really good. Again, even if that is on his weaker side. So that will encourage Clement, because I think he said in his post-match press conference, a lot of players who were playing tonight weren't here a month ago, weren't here 2 months ago, and there is clearly some connections that are starting to form. Dessers should have had a goal. Obviously, kind of played that 1-2 off the post for Barrie, didn't he? But it was a night again where he went through so much work, and for what you know you're sometimes not going to get from him, you know what you always are going to get from him as well, which is a lot of hard work, a lot of pretty good pressing, and didn't get his goal from the shot tonight, but he still felt, to me watching it in the stadium, like he had quite a few efforts to maybe get that goal. Nice
to have a post-match chat where there's lots of positivity in the comments. People are
rare.
It's a rare joyous moment for us. Andrew, they're saying a great performance and result. Day in the life, speaking about how this has to be almost has to be the new bar set for Rangers, and that's a point that Bob makes as well. And I think that's the final one I wanted to put to you, Josh. It feels like the bar has been raised by Rangers tonight. This does look like I think the manager said it himself in his post-match press conference that you can see on the site just shortly. This is the best performance so far this season, but this cannot now be the standard. Now the standard has to be raised once again, heading into domestic fixtures against Hibs and St Johnstone, Lyon at Ibrox next week. There is an opportunity there for Rangers to build a bit of momentum and try and actually harness this, rather than just being one good night, because one good night every so often, that's not going to get them to be able to want to get to.
Yeah, and look, you'll be able to watch and read an interview with Robin Proper tomorrow, where I asked him a bit about, in particular, how Rangers looked in possession, because I thought it looked a lot more cohesive on and off the ball tonight. You're right, they've got the opportunity now with 3 home games. Lyon will be difficult, but now, because Rangers have started well in the Europa League, suddenly that game probably is approached with a little bit more optimism, certainly by people who will be going to that game. Hibs at Ibrox. At the weekend, you've got a full Copeland stand, and as you say, suddenly there's an opportunity to build a little bit of momentum, and that's something that Rangers haven't been able to do. There's always been off-pitch issues or the slump at the end of last season that's prevented Clement from being able to do that. But I think they're starting to look better in possession. They're playing. If you compare how Rangers are using the ball from defence, they're still going direct and behind at points, but it's not nearly as early from the centre half. They're inviting pressure a lot more, and I think Proper and suits to the fact that both those players can invite pressure and they aren't scared of the ball. They aren't scared of losing the ball all the time. That definitely helps. Again, Butland hasn't had really anything to do tonight whatsoever. They need to sort their injury issue, because this is one game where they've got away with a limited squad, but that left side, especially in games maybe where I know you've got Chefty back at the weekend, but in games where you are trying to break a team down, I think that lack of width will become a little bit more apparent. But yeah, a step in the right direction. You can't really criticise them tonight. The focus will be, as you rightly say, Chris, can they go and build on it? Can they go and win certainly these 2 league games and get a positive result against Lyon as well? And then you go into the next international break, and there is a little bit of momentum for Rangers to go into. The challenge after the Old Firm was always going to be, can you build some momentum? Because really people thought after that game, that's the league done. Rangers aren't going to win the league, so that then the negative associations with that naturally come out, especially because of the last few seasons. You've got to try and build some momentum, and you've got to show that with your performances as well. And tonight, in a difficult venue, I thought they did that.
As I say, nice to have lots of positive points for us to be talking on or talking through. Certainly a lot of positivity in the chat. I'm sure Derek will be feeling inebriated and positive.
He'll have had a good night, won't he? I've not heard from him. So if we're 3 minutes late in the morning, you know who the suspect will be.
Or if I'm sitting here myself in the morning because Derek has slept in, he's still in his bed, and you're at Copenhagen Airport. So I shall wish you farewell for the evening. Get yourself back for a beer before you get to your bed. Everyone, thanks for joining us. As always, I say join myself and Derek Clark, hopefully, first thing tomorrow morning. And as always, plenty of coverage on the site. Manager's press conference, full Q&A to come. Reactions from the manager, reactions from a couple of the players, and full build-up to the return to Premiership action against Hibernian on Sunday as well. So thanks for your company as always, and we'll see you soon.